PremiereHipHop.com, they putting it down one time for your mind. On the RadioHipHop.com, y'all know how the fuck we get down, it's all real. You know what I'm saying? RadioHipHop.com, it's the bomb. Nah, I mean, word up. I'ma smack you in the face if you don't know what RadioHipHop.com is. RadioHipHop.com.
You're now tuned in to DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio Show, where underground lives.
Now you are listening to DJ Toshi.
The hip-hop writer is a creator, composing, understanding words of culture brilliance, powering a rebalance of the elements equally. Pages of rejuvenated reaffirmation. Simply the almighty leadership of insightful craft work that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly, uses his ears for the good to filter the real. And as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing it in the print. Today's journalist and tomorrow's historian, he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt, executed again and again and again. Peace. This is your host, Sunez of PremiereHipHop.com, hosting DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio. Woo! Oh man, it's been a minute, Toshi. We went from a classic episode 200. Into now this weekend of Boricuas and Nation of Gods and Earth show improves, and on the eve of the Low Life Barbecue in a few weeks. But what I'd like to focus on right now is saying remembered imperfection to the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the legend of legends, Muhammad Ali. I just published a piece in PremiereHipHop.com, and it was in watching these wonderful eulogies that I was watching from all these celebrities and great people that knew Muhammad Ali today on CNN and all the other channels, and I wrote this, just some thoughts. I think Muhammad Ali was controversial, he was righteous, and he didn't give a shit when it came to the real, so I wanted to write an ode to him that I thought fits that and fits the warriors that he spawned, which I think in some way would include me and my brothers here, right? As we have Paragone, Premier Hip Hop in the studio, we got DJ Toshi on the wheels, and I said this. I said, remembered imperfection, Muhammad Ali. Sling shots for rings, the rare refuse things. Watch the wrongs clot and force songs got. Wars disperse impurities and annuities. 5% build battle and rebel fluencies. Skill is straight or low filtered real. Ali Boumaye champion seal. Muhammad Ali's words spoke with magnetic, didn't he, white man? You tell all who listen it wasn't you who made his Olympic gold earn its fatal drowning. Or that the war against another indigenous original people isn't an imperialism that fattens your affirmative pre-actions. In the war of the United States of America, the most hypocritical battlefront of the last 6,000 years, the warriors graduate. If their talent is abnormal, that is a medical condition of supremacy and sellability, they will suffer and succeed, push and tear envelopes, succeed and suffer, as the most honorable remedy of rarity. These men are the most oppressed. They are black of one of the 16 shades. You pick them. It was Muhammad Ali, the anomaly that inspired us, that we must remember in perfection now. To remember in perfection isn't merely to wonderfully reminisce of the jungle's rumble, Charlie Drafts denounced, or that complacent Christianity crushed with an embraced name of titled righteousness, Muhammad Ali. The way all black babies are named when parents aren't assimilating but presenting supremacy to the world their infant will recreate. To remember in perfection is really to be alike to your older brother, to float like an iron butterfly with new weaponry, to sting savagery with understanding like the bee goes to born. It is to be alike the last of the Puerto Ricans, the remaining poverty-stricken men of riches, a poor righteous teacher. Remember them? That when Ali is crowned the greatest of all time, he graduates, and the immediate diction of fiery, uncompromising civilization of demanded righteousness is no longer needed. Its intensity no longer warranted. We then can see an absorbed humanitarian, an honored freedom fighter on a larger but softer plane. Ali, completely we love, yet he too is assimilated into the fabric of hypocrisy that is the battlefield of the USA. Like how Ali's talents found him the good Jews in power, comfort, repute, yet I and many other warriors still know not of these crystals that Billy, but the hustlers that killy, pillage our communities from storefronts to apartment buildings. Our hearts are being gentrified by the respect of the few, sincere whites, who were changed and fueled by Ali. Yet I, we them warriors, with little fiscal fortitude in our gifts, though many magical talents teach freedom on, justice now, equality, the proper position of our people in the still ravaged concrete bunkers. Ali we remember as a force of blackness, not as a rainbow of the light that must not wither. It is that racism, is the conniving core that all capitalism recruits from. And we the every man at arm, leg arm, supreme head of lesser repute that was rung by Ali, chanted by Marley, and given a flag by Allah the Father, know that Ali's battles are not yet won. The war Ali refused still wages today, just as our minds of creation are raped and ridiculed simultaneously. Only geography and times have revolved. Nothing's revolted, revolutionaries. When you find it in your morning to let Ali rest in peace, you have fallen asleep at the enemy's altar of lullaby. Muhammad Ali must be remembered in perfection. A perfection so brilliant it learns from his life in every breath. It never stays perfect and finished, but is a true and living rope-a-dope that builds as our cipher elevates deeper and deeper. Freedom, justice, and equality are living things, and they must be nourished, bathed, and kept all our lives. In this living perfection, we know Ali is a model of supremacy, not a handsome relic to bottle and package. This poor righteous teacher sacrificing all wealth when necessary as Ali stands in salute. While still rather infamous as Ali once was, and quite unbeknownst to so many, quite unlike Ali, I write with hearted ink, teach at the pitch of Albizu's yell, and move like a wily brown iron butterfly. I will remember in perfection Muhammad Ali, in each and every bob, weave, and build I wield. Peace.
Hey yo. Globe's biggest home skillet, Mr. Monster Man Rocco in the building. That's right. I'm your big homie. Chilling with my homie DJ Toshi. All that rhyme, right? Classic Storm Radio in the building. That's how we rocking. You understand? Ever since back in the OGC original gun club. The Storm. Classic though. Classic Storm Radio. Rock on.
Hey, this is Sunez, your host of DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio. Yo, let's backtrack a little bit because, you know, DJ Toshi gives you hip hop like a samurai. He doesn't wait for anything. He chops it all down. You know, if we're not ready, he just keeps going in. He gives you hip hop till you die. You know what I mean? And guaranteed you will die before the genre dies. Everybody keeps saying hip hop is dead. Because of DJ Toshi, you will die before hip hop dies. That's guaranteed. And let's talk about that. Let's go back a little bit to that great. It was great. Our episode 200, where we were live at the Karma Lounge downtown, and it was 3 great acts, paying homage to the 200th episode of DJ Toshi. And we had Percy P, the legendary MC, freestyle battle rapper. Well, you know, and I don't want to leave it just like that, because Percy P, if he decided to be a recording artist, he actually is a great recorded MC. Just that one album he did with Madlib has so many good topics, has so much variation, has so many techniques that it's an engaging listen. That's not easy to do in a Madlib production. You know, it's not easy. It's easy to make a good album with Madlib. It's hard to make a great one because his his beats dominate the MC often. You've got to be on a Doom level, you know, and make a Mad Villainy album to really shine through Mad Lib production, you know, and make us want to get more than just collecting the instrumentals. But we had Percy P, not just Percy P, but we also had the Artifacts with DJ Chaos, and I thought it couldn't have gotten better than until we got the legend Prince Poe as our final interview. And I'll tell you something, these are artists that they never really were asked the questions I had, and that doesn't mean that I'm a great interviewer by any means. It just means I'm proper, and it hasn't been properly done that people have asked them these questions that they needed to be answered. For people like Prince Poe to catalog, to be able to catalog and define their careers with relation to his partner, Paramount, who really is one of the great MCs of all time, a GOAT candidate for sure. And I think it overshadows the fact that Prince Poe is like a Pippin to Jordan when you listen to Organized Confusion. And I think that really came across in the interview. With the Artifacts, I think that idea that in the 2000s, when we see great 90s groups so-called break up, we forget that these MCs were always brothers, that they just made money on their own, and they also made unique records they couldn't have made together. And maybe it'd give us all a chance to go back into these catalogs. Like when there's a week, you know, in the 90s when we went out to get records, every single week a great album came out. Like especially by the mid-90s, we could get a great album every single week. That doesn't happen nowadays. There are great albums, but it's not that prolific. So going back into the dark ages, what I call the 2000s, and why I called that piece when I put it all together was out of the dark ages, was a lot of bullshit got the limelight, but a lot of great stuff was hidden. And the catalogs of Elder Sensei and the catalog of, you know, of and I'm forgetting his name. I'm going blank. Tame One, the catalog of Tame One. I'm thinking of the album he did, Parallel Universes, and I'm thinking of Dell, and I'm forgetting the brother's name I'm talking about. But Piece to Tame One, and Elder Sensei, great MCs. And if you ever see them perform live, they sound exactly like the record. You know, it sounds like you're listening to the record. You know, it's creepy. You know, all the veterans, they do that. You know, like Shabam Sadiq, his live performance sounds like a record. It sounds like he's lip syncing until he says something that isn't on the record. You know, then you realize that these guys are just experts. You know, but there's a lot of great. As I was telling Paragone, there's a lot of great artists out there, and I just want to name a few artists that have great albums out right now that you can go get right now. And before we get back into the music and hear selections from all this stuff, we have our brother Kevlar 7, Remember the Perfection, who had his Beautiful Soul album put together by Bronze and Bronze Nazareth and Roll Blunt too of Black Day in July Productions. And it's a great work. He pieced together all the stuff that Kevlar had and really made it work. If you go on Bandcamp, you can find that. There's also Nigeri Earth, Peace to the Earth, Nigeri. She has an album out, Return of the Super System. That sounds real good. We have the brother Mick Mountain, FU of Broken Home. We have A1 of Broken Home, who both released albums. Elzai out of Detroit with Lead Poison. That's a banger right there. Lyrics. We have my brother Boricua Chilo, who has an album out now. Go to his Bandcamp and go through all of his catalog, because that is a revolutionary Boricua. As an MC, as an artist, as a independista de Borinquen, just a great brother. We got to get him up on the show when we can. Cyrus Malachi and Ray Vendetta of Triple Darkness out of the UK have albums. Timeless Truth. Yeah, Timeless Truth had a really good album out. Mr. Liff out of Boston. My brother Sleep Sinatra is coming out with an album soon. And the brother Found Monday from Queens, you know, he's always on Starving Bee Records. There's an album out now that's really good. I Hate Monday. And you can't disagree with that title, and you can't really mess with that album. It's official. And some of these albums are going to have the honor to review them and put some art and science on music to them. But one album that's come out this year is The Anomaly by Powerule. And Prince Powerule, we are expecting coming along to our show in just a bit. And when he gets here, we're going to build on his album. I was able to write a piece on him, Powerule to the people on PremiereHipHop.com. And soon enough, he'll be in the studio and we'll be able to build with him and see what it's like to be a pioneer coming back with a great album. What's that feel like? You know, and on that note, back to DJ Toshi on Classic Storm Radio. This is the best. Peace. This is Sunez, your host for DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio. There are a couple of events that lead up to this moment right here. There are a couple of events that will happen that signify this moment as well. You know, as your host, Sunez, I read a piece, an ode to Muhammad Ali called Remembered Imperfection, Muhammad Ali. And I also had a little add-on in there in the piece too as well that I had written before about this idea of the 5%, this idea of teaching what you know to those who do not know it, the idea of sacrifice. And on this weekend in June is a very important weekend. Me being a 5%er, me being God of the Nation of Gods and Earths, our show Improve is actually this Sunday at the Harriet Tubman School on 127th Street. And one thing is for sure, the show Improve is to prove that the babies are the greatest. That the best part is the part to be preserved and elevated. And if anyone is out there, if anyone is by one, a law school in Mecca where I've been teaching for the last 16 years, that show Improve is right around the corner, and you can come to the school and build with the guys. We have an effect on hip hop that is much more than people think. There's an effect of philosophy, an effect of ideas, and just more freedom fighters in the mix. And speaking of freedom fighters, also on this weekend, we always have the Puerto Rican festivities in New York City. And these festivities, not because I'm a Boricua and I have massive pride and honor and respect for that, but the celebration of Puerto Rican pride is a little bit different than other places. It always has to be noted that the Puerto Rican flag is one of rebellion. A lot of people don't even know. Let's give a fun fact. Let's give two of them. The Puerto Rican flag was devised in New York City. It was done in honor and solidarity with the Cuban flag. But the Puerto Rican flag of today that shows a militancy, a independence leaning against the colonialism of the United States is actually not blue and red. It is actually a lighter blue, almost a sky bluish. So if you see a Puerto Rican flag and it's actually sky blue, that's considered the pre-U.S. colonialism flag, and that's the one that militants wear. Although I see any Boricua wear any flag, I'm a salute anyway. We know what they mean, But we have the Spanish Harlem Festival, right? We always have that every Saturday, right? 116. We always have the Puerto Rican Day Parade on Sunday. But there's also something else. I'm from Sunset Park, Brooklyn, right? Gun set representative. And out in Brooklyn, though, also is the second annual Grito de Sunset Park. Devised by a real great activist, Dennis Flores, out there, who's really fought against police brutality, promoted the youth and events, and I commend that brother and what he's doing in Sunset Park. Makes me proud to be from that neighborhood. So if you're around there, from about the mid-afternoon to the early evening in Sunset Park, check that out on Sunday as well. And I mention all these Puerto Rican events because we have none other than a pioneer, and one of the rare pioneers who's actually an iller MC today than he was back then. And we have a abnormal comeback. It makes LL's comeback seem like just a return after a bathroom break. We have Prince Powerule of the mighty Powerule in the house.
What up, everybody? That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Oh man.
Eloquent as always. Sunez.
Thank you, thank you. You know, there's so many things to ask you. I want to go through a little bit of the history, and maybe if people don't want to read the Power Rule to the People piece that I put in PremiereHipHop.com, or they won't catch up to the ensuing album Art and Art Science and Music review of the album Anomaly that is out now. But Powerule, you are the first Boricua to have a solo hip hop album ever.
I would say, I would say more significantly that we represented, we were the first group that was of all Latin descent that didn't have to rhyme in Spanish in order to get a record deal. Prior to myself, Mellow Mayonnaise came out, and big up to Mellow, he's a dope dude.
That's right, Mellow
and he's a cool man. And Kid Frost came out around that time too, and they had like Gerardo. So
which doesn't count.
Which doesn't count. But hey, I'm sure on some level, you know, it was good to see Latin brothers doing their thing, and
absolutely,
and he definitely did his thing. So, but whether you liked it or not, but prior to that, anybody who was Latin, and also the Mean Machine, but they all rhymed in Spanish too, with the wepa, wepa, y nada más, la gente enfrente tan caliente. That's an old classic. Y'all did that up, Mean Machine. But prior to that, anybody who was Boricua that was rhyming in English was paired with you know, an African American brother. They had to be in that type of group. Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys, my idol Tio from the Fearless Four. You know, you had Ruby D down with Fantastic. You know, Prince Whooper Whip and you know, DJ Charlie Chase and a bunch of dudes. But there was never a deal for a soloist group or whatever to rap in English and come out with a record. We came out independently in '89 with a record, Smooth, that broke that whole myth that we couldn't do it on our own without a Latin gimmick. Actually, you know, using the name Powerule solidified where we were from and what we were about, because we didn't come out and say we're the Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? That shit would have been corny. You know, I was gonna call myself anything like that. In my hood growing up, there was a huge 5% community.
That's
and,
the desert.
You know what I'm saying? So you from Jamaica, Queens, Hollis, Shadyville, everything, you just had all 5%ers running all through there, you know, very deep. So it was customary for them to call us Powerule all the time. They never said, yo, what's up? They said, what's up, Powerule? What's up, Powerule? So I became accustomed to it, found out what it meant, and I was like, that's dope. I was like, I'm with that. And, oh shit, Mike Geronimo on the back. He shot this in my hood too, Shadyville. Because Irvin's from around where I'm at, Hollis, Shadyville. But anyway, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so.
And now you have the Powerule name and
right, and so we came out, and at first, like, it was unbelievable, man. One of the third demo that I did was Smooth, and we knew a couple of people that knew a couple of people, you know, and got it to Marley. No, first we went up to WBAU. That was the first place they played it. Wild Man Steve, shout out to him. DJ Riz used to be DJing up there. I think Scribble too. And then we got a call from Red Alert. He said he liked the record, because he's in the days of record pools. You put records in a record pool, then certain DJs would get them. You know, that sort of doesn't exist anymore, really, I don't think. I'm not sure, but. So we got it out to these DJs, and man, boom. The first one that played it was on BLS was Marley Marl in Control. And I remember he played it right after Big Payback by EPMD. He mixed in Smooth, dropped the world premiere bomb on it. You know, the Marley world premiere is equivalent to the Flex bomb. You know, but the world premiere was Marley first had that.
Right.
And then before you know it, we're invited up to you know, Red Alert, you know, and stuff like that, and it just started taking off. Made a video. That was the first breakthrough. There was no Spanish dudes, Latin dudes, Puerto Rican dudes, I don't care, whatever, with a solo, with a joint out that ever got played on BLS or Kiss, or WBAU, or you know, WNYU, or any of these other stations, Stony Brook, WUSB. There's a bunch of stations back then. So that was a huge accomplishment. You got to remember, at that time, everybody listened to the radio on the weekend. So the feeling to walk outside your house and then all of a sudden hearing every radio on the street on a Friday night and your joint is reverberating through the streets was like no feeling ever I'll get again. Never gonna get that feeling again. People rolling up to the house, honking their horns. We did it, we did it. You know, it was a great, great feeling. And then the first time when our video came, more importantly, not on MTV Raps, which was huge, because that was just a huge cultural phenomenon. But the first time I saw myself on BET is when I really feel like I did it. You know what I'm saying? There was no Latin dudes on BET at all, never did, not rhyming in English. You know, remember that wasn't marketable back then. A record company didn't know how to market a Latin dude rapping. You know, that was even more difficult than a white dude rapping to market. You know, just like, where was the audience for it? But the music spoke for itself, and the audience came. And I like to, I'm very proud to be the pioneer and the precursor to a lot of brothers that got to get a chance. They probably would have surfaced anyway, but at least we broken up in the door, sold a bunch of records, and was a precursor to your Fat Joes, your your Cypress Hills, your Curious Georges,
Definitely.
your Big Puns, your Beat Nuts, you know, a bunch of groups, you know. It was great. It was just, it was an amazing feeling, you know. And, you know, it took till now to people to start to recognize that. But I ain't mad at it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, you know.
And now, you know, you after all those years, the Mets have not won another World Series.
That's right.
But you have come back with another album.
Yeah. You know that I was sitting in my house the other day, and I was like, you know what? This is perfect timing. The Mets are nice.
Man.
I'm nice.
I
We
had to
both
mention
gonna
it.
win this year. We winning this year.
For those that don't know, Powerule is a huge Mets fan.
Incredible.
He was surprised that I was a Mets fan.
Couldn't believe it.
I grew up a Mets fan.
Had Yankee all over him. I thought for sure. thought for sure.
And because we're on our militant Boricua, growing up colonialism, so I couldn't root for Teenage Yankees. That's like Jews rooting for the New York Nazis. You know what I mean? This doesn't make any sense.
I love that. That's great. I'm going to use that all the time.
Yeah,
Next
I
time
use
I
that
see the 37,000 Puerto Rican kid walking down with any flavor color Yankee hat, I'll be like, dude, you're disrespecting
Because the
us,
Yankees are
baby.
the imperialists that took over Puerto Rico. I you know, and the name still applies.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I segue into that because I as an anthem, I love Springfield Boulevard.
Yeah.
You know, all the Met references, the Go Yards, like Cespedes,
Yeah.
you know, all that, and
Or maybe I'm DeGrom putting up the Mo's.
yeah, it was just nice. It was nice to hear and stuff. And you know,
Oh, Synagog reference in there too. I forgot. Yeah.
that's right.
I was heavy on it because when I wrote that, man, they were killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things about this album, you know, because I could feel when you were telling me when I interviewed you before that there's so much more you want to do, but this album is such a variety of ideas and sounds. Even the videos you chose, the glorify and praise is like the middle ground. You know, that smooth video.
Yeah.
But then you have the, you know, the Grace video,
Right.
where it was building on police brutality and putting us in the context, whether it was the Young Lords all the way to today, and that we still have things to do.
Right.
And it's almost like when you recorded it was hell, and like the same hell still exists.
Yeah, that was initially the first song off the album because that was actually a track that was given to me by a cat named DJ DeVito out of Philly. Peace to
Peace to
DeVito,
Vito.
who's an incredible supporter of my projects.
He's
And,
one of the most hip-hop brothers
yeah.
you will ever meet in the universe.
And he is one of the single reasons why I'm here today. He sent me that track. He reached out to me online. He was like, "Why don't you do music again?" You know, and I was just like, wasn't really thinking about it at all, but I was feeling the energy. And I come home from work at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I see graffiti in the subways saying, you know, Black Lives Matter or fuck the police, you know. This is before the NWA movie came out or whatever.
Right.
But it was just when all that chaos was happening last summer. And it's just, I said, you know what? I feel like I fell asleep and woke up in 89 again. And it's just like, boom. It's like, shit has not changed.
Yeah.
It's really fucking sad, to tell the truth.
That line really spoke to me because I remember as a college student just beginning marching against Diallo,
Right.
you know, against, you know, I forgot the Latino
Yusef
brother's
Hawkins,
name.
Michael Stewart.
Yeah. And the Latino brother from Pelon, the Bronx, that was choked.
Yeah. There's so many.
This
And
is-
you know what? There was less coverage then, so imagine how much shit was going
imagine
on.
how much was missed.
Yeah. I threw myself into that song and I wrote it in 2 days on the train. And when I was done with it, I was just gonna be like, all right, whatever. That's a good song for a mixtape and everything. And happened to get into the hands of my DJ Axe, who we weren't currently doing anything, but I always call him my DJ. You know, that's my partner. And he calls me. He tells me to meet him up at work, after work in the studio. I walk into the studio. Psycho Les is there from Beatnuts, Lord Finesse from DITC, and Large Professor sitting in the studio. I thought they were having like some sort of like hip hop producer summit or something, you know?
Oh,
and then to turn around to say, "Nah, we're here for you."
That's crazy.
You know that moment right there, that was enough. If nothing ever happened, that finally, you know, when I was coming over here, I was thinking about what I was gonna say, because I know the type of interviewer you are, and I was like a first round draft pick when I first came out. Dudes couldn't believe I did it, and I was all over the place. People were all over me, asking me to do things, but I still had that old hip hop mentality of, I'm doing it for the fame to get the girl at the end of the night. Like, cause back then there was no money involved, and like, you know, you block party rhyming, house party rhyming in a local church basement, doing battles, and you know, maybe win $100 between all three of you. But you were the star for the night and you got the girl, you know? So once I achieved my goal of being on TV, it's like the women in the party took over and I lost my passion to rhyme. Fast forward as to now, I done did all that. Now my only focus is on writing something substantial, something that will get the reaction out of my peers to say, man, you got nice. Like, when I played Grace in the studio, Traj was there. Tragedy Gaddafi, peace to the God.
Peace to God.
And he was like, "Oh, you trying to come at me?" He said. You know, we fuck around like that. And man, it's just been, you know, person after person, DJ after DJ saying, "Wow, man, this album is really, really good." You know, dudes throwing out things like, "This is one of the top 5 albums of the year," and all that kind of, you know.
I can't disagree.
And yeah, so right now I'm in a beautiful space where I will not let anybody down ever again. And I say that looking right at the camera. Any fans of Powerule, you can expect consistent joints that are just dope as hell from this point on. Like, I'm never looking back right now. And I don't even know how long I might do this. I might do this for 10 more years.
Feel that. And on that note, we got more to ask Powerule, but let's go to some DJ Toshi tracks. Peace.
Yes.
And that's all we're doing here is building, though. On this great Boricua weekend, right, we have one of the great MCs, you know.
That's dope. We're going to drop this for the weekend so everybody can know. throw some black.
It either comes out.
Throw some black PR flags on there.
That's what's up,
You know
yeah.
I think we need to drop this on Sunday, official.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice, you know. If not, it'll be like an aftershock after all the festivities, you know. But
It'll be dope on Sunday.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. It definitely would, man.
Yeah.
I ain't denying it.
Let's shoot for that.
Word. And like we were talking about the album, right? We were talking about Grace, and we were talking about certain records that got you back in it. Certain great brothers like DJ DeVito, that it's were some of the few that were really getting at you to go in and then just walking into the trilogy and having them inspire you to come back. But I had asked you once though that the last track on the album is The Line.
Right.
And great brothers on that record. Dave Dar, who's really peace. Curious George, who actually was my first ever interview.
Wow.
My first ever interview,
And my man Mike Miller, who was down with PRC, like the second incarnation of Powerule back in the mid-90s, yeah.
Very dope record. And
that track was actually given to me by a Boricua cat that lives in the Netherlands named, he calls himself DJ Papi Chulo, but is Jules Bowden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And that, like, people hadn't heard you in a while, and then all of a sudden you have this layered, complex verse. And it's not you're an anomaly, but that skill set is not an anomaly because the latest video you have out is Gotta Getaway.
Yes.
And if you just sit there and just watch that video, you zone out to the verses you had there.
Yeah.
They're so layered on top of each other. The bars are just going on top of each other. They're you're layering them. You're internal rhyming. It's just a joy to listen to this Anomaly album.
I like it.
When you were doing this after all these years and trying to pick beats, right? Is it a pressure like, after all these years I have to pick the greatest beat of all time? So like you're looking for, Shook Ones Part 2 every single time you go in the studio.
Listen, I mean, that is an excellent question. Once again, kudos to you for the good questions. I pride myself not only on writing rhymes, but picking the right beats for myself. That is just as important as you writing. Like, if you're a real dope rapper, you gotta know how to pick beats that are for you. And I remember being in the studio, running through Les tracks, running through Large Professor tracks, running through Finesse tracks. And I'd be like, nah. And it's hard to tell those dudes, nah, not that one, nah. It's like, who am I? Like, I ain't come out in 15 years, 19 years, and I'm telling them, nah. But I just knew, like, once I kicked it in gear, it was just like, I know what I need right now. And boom, I picked the right Large Professor beat. I mean, that song, Glorifying Praise, is an underground classic already. Like, dudes are just, like...
People love it.
What we do, they're loving it, and then you go on any of these college radio charts, the only dude that has beat me on the charts over the last month is Royce the 5'9", and that's an established artist.
That's right.
I came out 15 years later, and I'm right on his heels for college radio. And I don't dismiss college radio. College radio is still important, and podcasts are very important. I was explaining during the break that to come here and see this whole setup, it reminds me of being in an underground militant bunker. Like, we're sending out a pirate signal and we're doing our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't find this in the supposed golden era of hip-hop that everybody loves to talk about now. There was nothing ever like this. So the internet has been detrimental to the game because it saturated it with such garbage, but it also allows things like this to happen. So we can only hope that the word will get spread around and, underground hip-hop will live.
There you go, the underground lives, And, the diversity on this album and stuff. I always ask MCs, because most MCs, they pick the beat and then they decide what they're going to rhyme about. But there's so many structured songs here, whether it's skill sets like Gotta Get Away,
Right.
Songs like Grace, songs like American Horror Story.
That's a
which I
very
thought
important
was
song
a
for me.
powerful song.
Yeah. That's another large pro beat, if you couldn't notice. But I just thought it was a proper time. We're living like I can't believe it's like Atlanta down south culture has just infected New York with this thing that people got to be in strip clubs, doing shows, DJing, and just like what a disgrace to the art form. It's just like I don't care how much they pay me. I'm never rhyming a strip club, dude. I mean that's so tasteless and just it's spitting on your art form. What's the strip club all about? Just degrading women, whatever. Maybe certain women that whatever. That's their path or whatever it is. But I'm definitely not. Listen, I've been in strip clubs, but I wasn't rapping in no strip club or DJing in it. It's just so about money, and now it's this whole thing with this whole strip club culture. It's just like it came from Atlanta. It's just like this is not us, man. It's just like so. I wrote a song about a young woman who came up from a troubled childhood, ended up being into that life, ended up, looking for love and attention, didn't get what she wanted, ends up ODing. Her father is in jail. He hears about all this. Her father gets out, and then he not only goes after the individuals that employed her and treated her with disrespect in the strip clubs, because basically the guys who are running the strip clubs and shit are just fucking pimps and pushers. He goes after the mom. Everybody's talking about there's so many bad dads. You know how many bad moms there are out there too? Tons. So the father actually gets rid of those dudes and then goes and gets the mom, and then he gets put back into the penitentiary. But he's satisfied that he did what he needed to do for his daughter's honor.
Right.
And there's a ton of girls out there, man, that y'all need to listen to that song because that's gonna be you. Get out of them spots. It's like I'm not trying to be Captain Saberhope, but I'm just saying it's not a good look, man. You know what I'm saying? And the day you have a family member that is involved with it, you're gonna realize that it's not a good look. Some people don't have that chance to have a first-hand experience with it, but I have.
Definitely. On a more broad note, as far as like the music and how this extends to the music, this idea
let's get back to the music.
of cheapening the music, right? One last thing. This separation of what hip hop is, boom bap, and calling it boom bap, and now as opposed to stuff like trap music, I think that has something to do with it too. And like, even an album like yours would be classified as a boom bap album when I think it should be classified as just a hip hop album. Right. This is what a hip hop album is.
Right.
And in closing, Powerule, and with everything that's said, and in the whole theme of everything we've been saying about Puerto Rico too, because there's so much going on there with like the Promesa bill and
they still got the Jones Act hanging over their heads.
Yeah.
You have 20,000 people are leaving Puerto Rico every year. There is 1/3 of the housing is vacant in Puerto Rico. There's more people on welfare than people that are working. There's no jobs. It's a horrible situation there, and I go there at least 4 or 5 times a year, and I stay out there, and I'm seeing all of this, and it's just like the United States is bailing on us, and it's just all the property now is being bought up by those people, and they're just taking over things.
Yeah, and what's interesting, these are the results of colonialism in the New Age. And this Promesa bill is talked about as medicine when what we really ought to have is reparations, if we were really being technical about it.
Right.
But,
being the most productive colony in U.S. history, period, and then everybody pulling out, it's pretty fucked up.
Absolutely. Powerule, now that, when I was building with you, the first time I built with you about the album, there was I had a sense that you had more to say. And I could sense that the albums coming are gonna have more themes to them, more subjects, more ideas, and even more technical showcases? You know, what can we expect?
Well, you know, right now I'm actually doing a project with Ayatollah Beats.
Nice.
It's going to be called The Poor Man's Dream, and we're going to do like a 5-song EP, and that's going to be coming out. There's a bunch of suitors for that, so we're going to figure out what we want to do, or do it ourselves, or do it through In Your Ear Recordings. Big up In Your Ear Recordings, because that's what Powerule is out on. We've owned the original Power Play Studios since 1999, and now we're putting out music of our own. We have In Session compilation that y'all can pick up, and now the Powerule album is the second project, and we'll be doing more. So for the next album, I really do see myself jumping into more political themes, as opposed to maybe I have 2 or 3 on this album. Like, I consider Glorify and Praise a political theme, because it's about escaping the lifestyle and just living to live another day and then live righteously. And obviously Grace is a political statement, and American Horror Story is a statement for young women all over the world. In the future, you'll probably see me with like maybe the next album I have 5 or 6 on them, you know? But it's got to be something that actually really moves me and I actually feel passionate about. I'm not going to just do it just to do it. And, you know, I'm still a hood dude, man, so I still love, you know, imagining the sunny day on the corner and what would I rhyme about? That's what Gotta Get Away is. And I encourage people to go watch that video. I did it right on Jamaica Avenue. Go to YouTube, go check that out. Gotta Get Away. I'm still that guy too, you know, and I'm very flawed and I'm very incomplete.
Rocking the polo.
But you know, I'm a work in progress, man, and I'm still gonna have my days. And you know, I don't stand out here and try to front like I got it all together and I'm a, you know, a man of steel. By far, I am not. I'm a very emotional, fractured, but still inspired individual, and I always think I could do better and I always think I could do more. I'm trying to make up for those 19 years of being away and then coming back and doing what I got to do.
Well, this Anomaly album, you can get it on iTunes,
Spotify, Amazon,
right? The Google, right? Google
yeah.
Play. This interview, let's call it the second installment of an endless installment of builds, with a great MC and a greater person, a Boricua that we are all honored by, all of hip hop is honored by, and get that album. You know, one of the complete, powerful works of the year from Powerule.
I'm grateful that so many great guys worked on the album. On this CD release that we're gonna do through Redline, we're gonna do CD and we're gonna do wax. We're gonna have 2 additional bonus tracks. One is with Ayatollah Beats, and one is with Lord Finesse. And might be looking at, you know, like I say that I only do features with people that I know, or you know, someone that I really respect. And so, you know, you might have OC on there on the DITC one.
Nice.
That looks like that's about right, you know. But
Nice.
I also want to say, you know, it's not me just out here alone, and a lot of people, you know, they say Prince from Powerule is coming up. They don't say Powerule. Powerule's a whole crew of dudes, man. It's like you got my man DJ Axe, you got my man Big Rob Diaz, owner of In Your Ear Studios. We got my manager HD. We got my man Mike Miller out there. You may not be rhyming right now, but I'm gonna get him to come back. We got my man Divine Rule. We got my man Sonny Banks, of course, is my partner. And we also got my boy Greg and Phil out there, and they doing their thing, and all of them are glad to be tagged with the Powerule name, and I love that. You know, they'll be like, yeah, I'm Sonny Powerule, yeah. I'm Ray Leon Powerule, I'm Greg Powerule, you know, whatever. So it's cool, and it's good to have a support system. And without that support system, you know, I couldn't do this every day. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, definitely. And on that note, though, man, peace to
Oh, big up to the
Powerule.
original Powerule members, too.
Oh, word.
Because I know they're going to be online listening to this. To my man Evil, that we came up together in Queensville. My man Johnny J. And my man P House, House Rocker, Beat Master. The original ill beatbox dude from Shadyville, baby.
Alright.
Oh, yeah, and on the producer side, I don't know how I forgot my man Self Services made countless hits. You know, for Jay-Z, DMX, all that. That's my man. We all came up together. That's family. That's my Shadyville family.
That's what's up. Man, peace to Powerule, peace to DJ Toshi. And we are back. Peace.